Hello and welcome to Brodual. Today we have 5 subtle improvements made to Skyrim in the Special Edition. You've all probably seen the endless before and afters comparing the original game with a remaster, showing off the new lighting and other graphical improvements. Instead of showing you the same, we've found 5 subtle improvements that you probably haven't noticed yet, even if you've already jumped in and started playing. First up is rain occlusion. This is a feature found in a good chunk of modern games, including Fallout 4, but it's especially effective in the world of Skyrim. Rain occlusion is a feature that makes it so rain and snow don't clip through shelters. You might remember the Real Shelters mod, which achieved a similar effect by faking it, essentially applying an overlay under shelters whenever you walked underneath them. This was a pretty decent workaround at the time, but with the addition of rain occlusion in the base game, the effect is now instant and seamless. Rain occlusion makes the effect constant, so rain and snow never falls through shelters regardless of if you're standing underneath it. It works so well for Skyrim because of mods like Frostfall, where staying warm and dry is key to surviving in Skyrim's harsh climates. All in all, it's a very subtle feature, but it gives a nice seamless boost to immersion. Next is another graphical improvement, but this time it's a bug fix. In the original game, an incredibly annoying bug called Z-fighting plagued many areas of Skyrim, particularly mountains. This is a bug where 2 objects take up the exact same space, and then the game's engine freaks out when it tries to render them both. It created this annoying flickering whenever you moved, which was especially noticeable in the mountains as they're always in the distance, constantly flickering away. But we're happy to say that in the Special Edition this is no longer an issue. You can walk around and enjoy the improved view distance in all of its intended glory. One thing you've probably heard about the Special Edition is how it's more stable than the original game. This is partly due to the 64-bit nature of the new engine, which allows the game to use up more memory. Not only will this make your game less likely to crash, but it also allows for more objects on your screen at once. For a direct comparison, we spawned 200 Imperial soldiers into both the original Skyrim and the Special Edition, and then we killed them. With 200 bodies on the ground, the original game falls to a whopping 15 frames per second, and that was after it crashed 4 times. Whereas in the Special Edition, we didn't crash once. There was definitely a big lag spike when we killed them, as you'd expect, but once their bodies settled, we were still very close to 60 frames. More practically, the Special Edition allows for more NPCs to be fighting at the same time. So you could imagine a Civil War overhaul mod that adds huge battles with dozens of NPCs. Again, in our test, the Special Edition barely drops any frames in such a huge battle, whereas the original game drops to 30 FPS. Also, the original game has a noticeable limit on the amount of NPCs that can fight at the same time. If you spawn in 50 or 60 soldiers like we have here, you'll notice a bunch of them just stand still, whereas with the Special Edition, every single soldier starts fighting instantly. All in all, the Special Edition's upgraded engine means improved performance and stability, but what you might not have known is that it should allow for bigger mods on a wider scale. Back to graphical changes, you've probably all seen the fantastic new water in the Special Edition, which is a major improvement over the original game. However, what you may have yet to appreciate is that water now flows more realistically. In the original game, water very noticeably just flowed in one straight direction, regardless of what's in its path. At rivers it was particularly awful because it didn't even flow in the direction of the river. Instead, it just looked like a plane of water clipping through the ground. But now in the Special Edition, water flows as it should. This means it'll slow down if something's blocking its path like a tree trunk, and then continue to flow at a normal pace when unobstructed. It'll bend realistically around corners and other obstacles, and always flow in the right direction. Just like rain occlusion, this is a very subtle effect that improves the overall aesthetic. And finally, as an added bonus, you can now also loot the Executioner's hood when escaping Halgan. So if you've yet to start a new game, that might be an interesting piece of gear to start your adventure with. And they're the 5 things that you might not have known about the Special Edition. As always, if you're interested in other videos like this, then let us know down below. We'd also like to give a huge thank you to all of you for helping us hit 300,000 subscribers. That's all for today's video, be sure to check out g2a.com and thanks for watching.